the energy, the enthusiasm to change your situation. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, says, you need 5 steps. So we have the 5-step program. The first one is learning, to learn. So that's what we're doing now. We're investigating emotions, our own situation, what's happening. And while you're learning, as I said, try not to bring something else into it. While you're thinking about yourself, your behavior, your reactions, what you do, try not to judge. Just think, is it beneficial? Is it not? Does it help me? Does it help others? Does it harm? But don't be heavy with yourself. Just investigate the situation, learn about you, and learn about how to do it in a different way. Okay? So learning is quite a big field, and that's what we're doing in these teachings. Reading, watching videos, listening to MP3s, whatever you're doing, keep learning. Keep deepening your experience of the teachings. So that you reach the second point, which is conviction. So you have to keep learning until you reach conviction. And conviction is, I need to change. I want to change. Not because Buddha says, not because Venerable Namgyel says, but because I know enough to recognize I must change. So you have this strong feeling in your heart, I need to change. Okay? So your learning brings you to that point, to conviction. I must change. Then the third level, you need determination. So once you've got to the second level, conviction, I need to change, you then need this feeling at the third level, I'm not going to give up, right? Determination, I'm not going to give up. It doesn't matter what happens, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going. You know, there's this t-shirt, maybe you buy the t-shirt, never give up, right? That's a good one. His Holiness says, never give up. Look at him. 50 years struggle. He hasn't given up, right? So we should have that same determination. In the face of the enemy, and the enemy is not your partner, it's not your boss, the enemy is the anger, the jealousy, the hatred that you've decided you don't want anymore. This is what you've got to get rid of, right? That's the enemy, not outside, it's internal. So now I'm determined, I'm going to remove this disturbance from my mind, this anger, this hatred. So, very good to think, never give up. Once you've made that determination, it's not like New Year's Eve, you know. Absolutely, I'll go jogging every day and I'm going to lose 10 kilos. And the first day it's raining and you're jogging finished, you know. I'm definitely not doing it today, it's raining. Then the next day it's sunny. Oh, I can't do it today, it's sunny. We're waiting for exactly the right weather conditions, you know? So don't be like that. Don't wait for the wind blowing from the easterly direction, or no rain, or no enemies appearing, or whatever it is. Don't be like that. Just say, I'm determined. I'm not going to give up. I'm sure I can do this. Yeah? Then the fourth one is action. Action. So what are you going to do? That's what you're learning in these classes. What are you going to do? Because it's not enough to say, I'm going to change, but then not know how to change. So we have meditations, to enable you to change. We have these teachings which you learn, in which you learn about the afflictions, the disturbing states of mind. You learn about the constructive states of mind. So we need to know antidotes, the medicine, right? So in the action is applying the antidotes to the negative states of mind. Yeah? When you're applying action, you're applying the antidotes to the negative states of mind. And we have to do this in meditation. Because meditation is reprogramming the mind. You're reprogramming your mind to see things in a different way, to behave in a different way, to imagine it in a different way, to think about it in a different way. Not the way you thought about it before, because that created suffering for you and for others. Now you're going to do it in a different way. You need to start with your mind, with thinking, with your imagination. So I'll just give you a very quick example. Because people often say, what is this antidote? What do you mean by antidote? So anger is the antidote for what? Okay, I'll give you a minute to think about this. Anger is the antidote for a positive state of mind. Huh? Kindness. Something else. Patience. Something else. Huh? Yeah. And? Happiness. Yeah. So it's an antidote for a lot of things. Yeah, not just the one I was thinking. What else? Love. Yeah. The main one is love. The definition of love is, I want you to be happy. Right? So when you're angry, you're not loving, are you? You're not making the other person happy. By default, you're not making yourself happy. So there's an example of an antidote. When you're angry, you're not loving. When you're loving, you're not angry. Right? So then, if you have an angry mind, we meditate on love in order to antidote the angry mind. The more experience you have of a loving mind, a kind mind, all the examples you gave, the more experience you have of those minds, the less anger will appear. Because the strength, the power of your mind will be towards the positive rather than towards the negative. Rather than suppressing the anger, we actually increase the potential of the mind to turn towards positive states of mind rather than negative states of mind. This is very important. So that's just one example. We all want more love, right? And yet, when we're angry, what we're doing is moving love away from us. The person we love, the situation we love, whatever it is, it's moving away from us because we're angry. If we can remember that when we're getting angry, it will reduce the power of the anger. It will reduce the length of the anger. And I'm not cuckoo. Strange, when I say these things, this bird goes cuckoo, cuckoo. You know? It's a Dharma student from the last life. Ended up as a cuckoo. Right? So this is something for you to investigate. You have to look into this. Your anger and what it does. How it affects the people around you. How does it make you feel? How does it make them feel? Without being judgmental and critical, without beating yourself. Don't go there. But just look at it as if you're watching it on TV. Just look at it. How does it make me feel? How does it make the people around me feel? This is very important in the step-by-step process, right? Because then you learn about it. And then you develop some conviction. I must change that. Then you have a determination. I'm not going to give up because I don't like this about my mind. I don't like this anger. I don't like the result, moving the people I love away from me. So then I must put something into action. The antidotes, the opposites of the negative state of mind. And then the last one is effort. We have to make effort. It needs to be on a continual basis. Effort. So day after day after day, we need to make some effort. It's not enough to say, today I'm going to do it, today I'm going to change, and then tomorrow, forgotten. Or when things get really bad, you pick up a Dalai Lama book, The Art of Happiness. I really need The Art of Happiness now. And you read The Art of Happiness and you're really into it, and then, 2 weeks later, completely forgotten. But day by day, do your meditation, read something positive, increase the potential of your mind towards the positive rather than towards the negative. Just little by little. I'm not asking you to do 18 hours a day. You don't have to be a Dharma practitioner all day, but at least when you get up in the morning, do some meditation. Because this is the best time of day. When you wake up, you're the freshest, you're the clearest. It's like all the clouds have gone. But during the day, all the clouds come, the rain, the storms. By the end of the day, you're tired. It's difficult to meditate at the end of the day. But in the morning, you wake up, you're fresh. You're not thinking so much. And what I say is, if you haven't meditated before, start with not an hour, not half an hour, 10 minutes. People think I'm the most incredible teacher because I say 10 minutes. Oh, you're wonderful, I love you, But we can't meditate for an hour. The meditations we do here are too long, but we're trying to teach you techniques, right? So we need that time to teach you techniques. But we try and break the time up into smaller sections so that you don't get too distracted. But at home, start with 10 minutes. Motivation, why am I doing it? If you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for others, it helps you to keep going. Because we have this hang-up about doing something for ourselves. If a friend wants an hour of your time, you'll give it. But for you to sit by yourself and study, do some meditation for an hour, oh no, I don't have the time. Right? So we don't give ourselves enough time. We need the time in order to be better people, in order to be better outside. So internally better translates into externally better. So every morning, motivation, do your meditation, and if 10 minutes is too long, make it 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. The thing is that you've done it really well, right? So you start with 5 minutes, a 1 minute break, then 4 minutes, 5 minutes, so that you can really concentrate on the object. Just, you lose it, come back. You lose it, come back. This helps you to concentrate. We all need concentration. Whether it's for our jobs, for driving, whatever it is, we need concentration, right? And you can see during the meditation, your mind goes out, your mind goes out, your mind goes out, and you have to keep pulling it back, come back here, come back here. You have to be very patient. At the end of the meditation, dedicate the positive energy. Give it away. Be generous. Be very big-hearted. I don't need this positive energy. There's others who are suffering more than me. Others with more problems than me. give it away. If you know somebody in your family, a friend who's really suffering and sick, give it to them. May they get better quickly. May they not be angry. Do it. If you're angry, do your meditation on behalf of all the angry people in the world. Give all the positive energy to them, because they can't do what you're doing. What you're doing is rare. It's unusual, So then you see that you're doing something very positive, very beneficial, and you're not even holding on to the positive energy. You're giving it away. So that's your practice of generosity, of kindness towards others, your compassion. So we need this great enthusiasm and urgency in order to keep going. Because if we don't have that feeling of enthusiasm day after day after day, you go from a course and you go down, 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 down. And then a couple of years, a year, a couple of years, I should go back to that course, do another course, maybe I'll start meditating again. But actually, right now is the time to start. Because time's passing. In order to get enthusiasm and urgency, you need 3 meditations, 3 ways of thinking. The first one is precious human rebirth. So you need to meditate on your precious human rebirth. Precious human rebirth. We'll talk about it other days, but basically, we have a human rebirth, but for us, it's incredibly precious. Because we have the opportunity, the freedom, to be able to change our minds. We're not in an oppressive situation. We're not being told what to think, what to do. We have the freedom, the ability to change our minds. So this is a precious situation. Right? Then you can compare your situation with, I like to think of snakes. So in the meditation, you can think about your very important, precious situation. And then you think about, say you were a snake. You're reborn as a snake. That snake wants to be happy, right? It's going along, it's looking for food. It's a cobra. Cobra is a good example. You get them in Nepal. So the cobra is going along, it's looking for lunch, and it happens to come into Kopan. And there's a meditation course going on, So it appears over here, and you're all going for lunch, the cobra's looking for lunch, and you meet on the pathway. And the cobra goes like this, and you all go like this. You don't say, "Oh, how gorgeous," Isn't it incredible, gorgeous? I love it. I want to stroke it. You'll all scream and be running in the opposite direction. Just the form of the snake is terrifying to most people. Or the mosquito, or the cockroach, or the spider. I've had people on courses completely freaked out because there's a spider in the room, cannot sleep because there's a spider in the room. So there was one girl, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, maybe last year, she said to me, there is this gigantic spider in the room. I said, they're the best. They don't do anything. They just sit there, right? She said, well, it's not good for me. I want it out. And I said, well, we're here to transform our minds. Why don't you just leave it and work with the situation? I think she stayed awake the whole night, with sort of one eye watching the spider, right? But imagine being that spider. So go from precious human rebirth into that form, the spider, the dog, whatever it is. Then come back into your precious human rebirth and compare between the two. We are unbelievably fortunate. Unless you meditate on it and think about it, you don't realize your fortune. We just take it for granted. Female, male, born in whichever country, freedom. Of course I have freedom, you know. But there's so many people who don't have freedom in this world. Imagine you're born into a war zone. 24 hours a day, fear. So even you could be a human, but born into a very difficult situation. Imagine. What would it be like to be them? Could they meditate? Could they relax? Could they think about others? Very difficult. Then think about animals. What would it be like to be reborn as that? Then come back to you. Unbelievable difference. So fortunate to be in this body, alive, healthy, with the ability to benefit others. So that's the meditation and the teachings on precious human rebirth in a very short way. But then the next one is impermanence. Time is passing. So you have this precious human rebirth, but time is not permanent, time is impermanent. Time is passing. So then you meditate on how everything is changing. And this is really important because your problem will change. Your negative state of mind will change. Your positive state of mind will change. Any situation will change. Your body is changing. So if you're sick, it can become healthy. If you're healthy, it can become sick. Anything can happen. And so by meditating on impermanence, you get that feeling of everything moving, shifting, not being solid, permanent, unchanging. So the situation you have right now, which is very precious, is not going to last forever. It's impermanent. Yeah? So you meditate on that. And then the third one is death. Not a popular subject, but we have a course on it coming up. Death is actually happening even today, even every moment. You breathe in, you breathe out. The breath stops, then another breath. It's like a very short death. When you're going to sleep, it's also like a death. But then the major death, you know, the cessation of this body, leaving this body. The thought of that makes many people really uncomfortable because we have such attachment to this body. We have attachment for our friends, our family, our situation. But inevitably, we're all going to die. Absolutely, we will all die. So it's very important also to think we're going to die. Because I personally do not know when. Is it today? Is it next year? You know, I make plans. I have a calendar, a teaching calendar for a year in advance. It's very arrogant, thinking I'm going to be there next year, right? But that's the way the world is. We have to make plans. But will I really be there? Will I really still be alive? Sometimes I'm on planes and I think, you know, it's going, uh-oh. I just went to Pokhara. The plane was like that. Uh-oh, you know. It could be now. And it's really interesting when you meditate on death because it makes you more aware of life. That's the purpose of it. The purpose of the death meditation is not to depress you, is not to make you down. It's to make you think about life and what you have. That goes back to the precious human rebirth. So when you think about losing something very precious, very important, then you appreciate the valuable thing, right? If you had a diamond that was worth $1 million, you wouldn't just leave it on the table. You wouldn't just leave it in your room unlocked, right? You think, where should I put my diamond worth $1 million? you know? I should lock it away. I should have a secret code, you know? I should go to the bank and put it in the bank somewhere safe. This, our body, our situation, is very precious. So what should we do with it? That's your decision. How are you going to use your life? What are you going to do with your life? In comparison to death, when your life finishes, will you be happy with what you've done? Will you have any regrets? So it's really important to die having no regrets. You've dealt with the enemy. Remember that difficult person in your life? You put them in front of you every day. You kept thinking about them. How can I have compassion for the enemy? So in the end, there is no enemy. When you die, no enemy. No disturbed mind. This is very important, that you die peacefully, happily. You're able to let go. So these three meditations, precious human rebirth, impermanence, moment-to-moment change, death, appreciating life, appreciating what you have, appreciating the people around you, your situation, really sharpens you, makes you think very clearly, this is important. What I have is important. Not just, you know, they've all got the same thing too, but actually it's rare when you think about, you know, more than 1 billion people in China. What sort of life do they have? Do you think they're sitting in meditation centers, thinking about emotions and how to change? They're working really hard just to survive. India, same. Nepal, many people, really hard life, you know, just survival. We're not just surviving. We have a situation where we have food, we have room, we're comfortable. So let's use our precious human rebirth for more than just survival, for transforming the mind, for making the mind full of wisdom, love and compassion that then transforms the world. Then the world is something that we've created. We're not a victim of the world, we've created a different world. But first, we have to recreate our mind. We have to do it from inside, not from the outside.